had somebody ask me what my favorite plants were on a recent video, and I figured I would kind of talk about a few of my favorites, and no particular order. These are just a handful of my favorite plants. First one is this guy. Now, before you are freaking out, like, why are you holding a dead bump? This is not a dead bump. This is a dinosaur plant. And what happens is when you put this guy in water, or when he discovers that there is water nearby, he's got these crazy, like, spaghetti noodle roots. I'm trying to separate one here if I can. And they go find the water and he opens up. It's pretty cool if you're interested in a specific video on watching it open either in a time lapse or even in real time, because it takes probably about 40 minutes and it opens up. It's pretty cool. Happy to show that. So that is one of my favorite plants. He, again, is a dinosaur plant. My fiance found him for me a while back. I'm not sure where, but very unique. Not a plant that everybody has. So there's number one, the dinosaur plant. Plant number two is a jade. I have a fair few jades in my collection, and the thing I like the most about jades as someone with a visual impairment is that they're fairly tactile, and they allow for me to work with them fairly easily by touch. So this is a tree that I have been growing from a couple of leaves, and I think I've had him for about 2 years now, and I've got a small trunk here, and 2 branches off the top of the trunk that are starting to kind of become their own entities. I'm hoping maybe this spring I'll be able to kind of defoliate them, so take the leaves off and kind of discover the structure and start working with this as a tiny little tree. But this guy has taken a lot of time. These are not fast growing plants, at least in my experience, and this is with mostly indoor growing with grow lights, so your mileage may vary. This is a jade plant. I'll give you a quick rotation of this one, and I have several in my collection. My seasonal plant updates have more history of my various jade plants, but this guy's pretty cool. I'm a fan of these. I have several going and growing at all times, and I like the idea of trying to make small trees out of them. I don't know that I would necessarily consider it bonsai in the more traditional sense, but that's probably the closest thing to it that I have, other than I do have one bonsai tree, but that's for another video on another day. So there is the jade. All right, this guy and I are going to have to fight for table space at the same time. This is a ZZ plant. I think it's a Zamacoccus zamifolia, and these guys are just kind of wicked. They have these huge rhizomes that grow underneath the soil that feel like giant potatoes, and they have these crazy, very structural stems. So this guy is probably a little taller than my head, sitting on the table. I've had him for several years. He seems very happy here in my little plant room. I've had a lot of shoots coming up this winter in particular, and I just moved him to a kind of an indirect lighting spot, and he seems to be very much growing significantly from that. And I really like these guys. They're very easy to care for, but I like that, again, tactily, something very unique and very easy to care for, which is always good. So I'm going to rotate of him. That's what you're hearing. But he is a pretty big dude, pretty cool. He's hit me in the face. So ZZs are a blast. I very much enjoy them, except for when they hit me in the eyeball. So that's this guy, the big ZZ. I also have a ZZ Raven that definitely needs a little TLC going into the spring, so I'm hoping to do something to help that plant have a better year this year that my fiance and I got about a year ago. So, or no, 2 years ago. Dang. So that's the ZZ plant. This guy's probably not even, I'm realizing that he's probably not in frame. He's too big. So, this is a Dracaena. These are probably among my favorites because they are literal trees. And, well, actually, no, I don't think they are trees. That is a horticultural misnomer? No. You know more than I do, probably. They're really cool, is my point. So, this guy I got for $6, at a garden center a couple years ago, and despite the fact that many that I've had from other stores have died, he has not. And you're gonna see that there's kind of a weird thing going on down here with, we have a very empty space of trunk, and then we have a handful of leaves, some of which are turning colors and falling off, and then we have another just 2 or 3, 4 leaves right here, and then we get up to like the crown of the plant, which here I will go like this so you can hopefully see the whole thing. I hope it's in frame. But he's actually, the reason that he's doing that is because he is concentrating so much growth on the top of the plant and the crown and the new leaves up top, that these older leaves that he's had for several years are starting to fall off, and it's forming this very structural trunk. And the reason I'm letting them grow is when he's ready to have them fall off, like this one, they just kind of come off on their own. You can actually, I can feel that this one had bent, and it was ready to come off. So the plant decides when they're ready to lose those lower leaves, and then you get this really cool trunk. And my goal is that next year I can take some lights, like some LEDs, and wind them around the trunk for him to be kind of a decorative plant. So that is a Dracaena. I have so many different kinds of these. This is a marginata, Dracaena marginata. I also have Dracaena lemon lime, Dracaena Janet Craig. Maybe that's all I have right now. I used to have so many, but yeah, these are the guys that have kind of survived. And the fact that this guy, as a little tropical looking tree, grows in my house is awesome. So that's a Dracaena. Once again, I put myself in the jungle. This is a ponytail palm, and these guys are pretty wicked. They have these really interesting leaves where, so if I quote unquote pet them, so if I take from the end of the leaf and run my finger back this way, insanely sharp. You can actually cut yourself, like draw blood, which is wicked. But if I go this way, like from the inside of the plant outward, we're golden. This guy for the longest time did nothing for me, just nothing at all, would not grow, wouldn't die either, so I kept him around. But I was like, what's going on? And all of a sudden this year, I don't know if it was the lighting in my room here. I think he did spend some time outside, which he seemed to appreciate. But the root ball here has gotten pretty large, or not the root ball, the bulb in the middle. They have this big middle, I don't know what people call it, I think an elephant's foot. That seems to have gotten bigger. And he's a little like disheveled, like he's definitely been beat up a little bit, but he's doing really well. And going into the spring, I think might even need a repot, because he's drinking water very quickly, which is a good problem to have. For a plant that I honestly at times like considered throwing because I was like, it's not doing anything, he's become a favorite because he's been pretty active. So that's a look at the ponytail palm. So there is a look at some of my favorites. I will have a winter plant update specifically out probably the next like 6 weeks or so. I'm going to give everyone a little bit more time to keep going, keep growing, and we'll keep rolling with it. But yeah, if you have any questions about any specific plants, let me know. These are all plants, by the way, as a blind person, that I really appreciate being able to take care of by touch. They're not plants that are particularly fussy in that sensitivities to whether it's water or sunlight, you know, that sort of thing, are, as long as I get most of it right, we're okay. And almost every plant that I just showed off, I've had for at least 1 year, if not 2. So these are plants that I've actually had around for quite a while. So thanks for checking this one out. If you have any questions, comments, queries, theories, concerns, or anything else, please don't hesitate to let me know in the comment section down below. We'll see you soon. Peace.